Welcome back. In this video, we shall talk about use effects and why we use it. First, I have to mention that the effect hooks is used to perform or carry out side effects like updating the component with a lifecycle method in a functional component. The things we can use methods like component did mount, component will unmount, or component did update for can be done using the use effects hooks in React. So let's go straight to the point to using the effect hook to update a counter like we will do with component did mount and component did update. First, we are going to create the project using class-based components, then rewrite it using functional components and use effect hooks. So this project will be like a game we are going to use to update the title of our web page based on how many times we click a button. Let's create it so we can understand better. So let's get rid of this first. It's a class-based component. Let's do the IMRC and the CC there, and let's set that to app. Let's get rid of the state here. Let's pass in a constructor method here that's going to take a super function as always, and we are going to set state. This dot state, set this to my count. We are going to define state, not set state, so I don't confuse you. Set to 0. Now let's come to our JSX and let's spread this like so, and let's pass in a h3 tag there. Let's say you are welcome. No, you are welcome. You are welcome. We will punch the button to start. We will punch, not punch. We will punch the button to start. So we are going to pass in the button tag here that's going to say punch me. And in our button tag, we are going to pass in an onClick event function there, which is going to be set like this: an arrow function, an empty arrow function that is going to set state there. This dot set state, and in our set state function, let's say we'll have my count set to this dot state dot my count plus 1. So let's set that like that. This dot state dot my count plus 1. So this is all we have in our JSX. The next thing, let's come out of the render function and let's create a component did mount method here, and let's say document dot title, not that, document dot title. Let's set that to backticks and say punched, and let's say this dot state dot my count times, and let's come out here and let's use the component did update lifecycle method, and let's say document dot title, set this to backticks again and say punched this dot state dot my count times. If you don't know about the backticks and how I'm using the backticks here, it means you have not watched my JavaScript tutorial. So if you're finding this confusing, go back and watch my JavaScript tutorial. The link will be in the description. Let's go to our server to see what we have. In our server, everything is compiled successfully. Now let's go to our browser to see what we have. Now take note of this. take note of the title of our website, which is here, not here, here. Now, let's punch this and let's see what's going to happen. As we are punching this, it's saying punched 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Now let's go back to our JSX. Let's print out something that's going to be very clear for everyone to see. Beneath the button tag, let's pass in a H4 tag here that's going to say you have not punched. You have punched it. This.state.myCount times. Let's save that. Now let's go back to our browser to see what we have. Now let's punch this once more. As you can see, as we keep punching, it increments by 1. So as you can see, we have performed side effects using component did update methods. When our page is first rendered to the screen, you see that it is at 0. This is at 0. Let's refresh. You can see everything here. This one is 0. This one is 0. Then when we click on the button here, it triggers an event. It triggers this event, the onClick event, that will add 1 to the count, which is rendered in the title. When the count is updated to 1, components did update will be updated and it will re-render. So let's create what we have here using the effect hooks. But let's start from scratch, which will be us creating a basic counter in our browser using the functional component method. So let's get rid of all of this. And let's have our RFCE there. First of all, let's bring in the useState function there. And let's say const my count, and set my count should be set to useState, and let's pass in 0 there. So in our JSX, let's pass in a H3 tag that's going to say you are welcome. We will punch the button to start. You are welcome. We will punch the button to start. Let's go beneath the H3 tag. Let's pass in a button tag that's going to say punch me. In our button tag, let's create an onClick event which will be set to, let's call this method click handler. Now let's save that. Now let's come outside the return statement here and let's create the click handler. And it's an arrow function. All we're going to have is set my count, which is just like set state, and we'll pass in my count there plus 1. Just something basic. So let's go to our browser to see what we have. In our browser, when we click this, everything is happening under the hood, but we are not seeing anything because we haven't displayed this in our JSX. So let's go back to our JSX and let's pass in a H4 tag here, and let's say this has been clicked my count times. We pass in the value there, the variable name, my count times. Let's save that. Now let's go back to our browser and let's punch this. As you can see, when we click, it increments by 1. So it says this has been clicked 6 times. But with this, we can see that we are just effecting the change here, only without effecting the change at the title section of the page, which is what we did in the class-based components. So let's do exactly what we did in the class-based components using effect hooks. So the next thing to do is to import the use effect hook, like so. Now inside here, we are going to use the use effect function, like so. Inside the use effect function, we are going to pass in an empty arrow function, which is going to take the document.title and set it to backticks that's saying punched my count times. Let's save that. Now let's go back to our server to check if everything is fine. In our server, everything is fine and is compiled successfully. Now let's go back to our browser to check what we have. Now let's punch this once more to see what we have. As you can see, everything is running fine. The effect is being handled properly. When you punch this, you see it is updated here and it is updated here. So the use effect hook is used to run side effects, just the same way we used our component did update to run side effects in our class-based components. So what happens here is this. For those that may be watching just this video, the square brackets here is used to define the state variable and also define the variable that will be used to set states. Now the use effect here is used to execute anything that is passed into the brackets. In our case, we have an arrow function passed into the brackets here. So anytime the component is rendered, this callback function inside the use effect function that we have here is ran, and our document.title is updated with the new value of my count. And this will not be updated if there is no new value to my count. As we know, for my count to have a new value, the button has to be clicked, and the onClick event will be triggered to set state, which is my count, to a new value where 1 is added to it. For now, just go over this video again. Whatever you don't understand, say it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share.